Guys, my name is Hannah and I went on the mission trip to Utah last summer. I'm really excited that you guys are going this year. I had such a great experience. God taught me so much and was able to use me in a lot of really cool ways. And I'm excited for you guys to have those experiences. And it's not an easy trip. There's going to be difficult moments, discouraging moments, but the Lord is strong and He's going to carry you through. And if you allow Him to, He's going to teach you and equip you to be a better witness for Him wherever you go, whatever you end up doing in your life. So just go into it with that mindset to learn, to be teachable, and God will be faithful to teach and to grow you through this week. I just had a couple things that I wanted to share from my experience that will hopefully just encourage and help equip you farther as you guys prepare for this trip. The first thing is that there's going to be a lot of awkward moments, whether it's knocking on doors, talking to people about faith. It can be hard sometimes to start those conversations. Mormons are usually pretty open and love opportunities to talk about their faith, so that definitely makes it easier than going around knocking on doors like here, where we live. So that was really cool. But there's going to be awkward moments, right? Because kind of what we're doing is a little bit awkward, right? Going around neighborhoods, knocking on doors, sharing like flyers and information. You kind of just have to put yourself out there and embrace it and just be like, you know what? Like, it's going to be a little awkward, but I'm doing it for the Lord. He's going to be with me and He's using me. And so that's the important thing. So just know that going into it, like feeling awkward, being in an awkward situation is not the worst thing in the world, even if it feels really bad in the moment. So just embrace that. Pray for help going into those situations, and don't back out of a situation because things are getting awkward or uncomfortable, right? That's when you press in and just really let God use you even more. There was a guy who was so good on our team at like continuing the conversation when the person like was desperately trying to get out of the conversation. And it was just incredible to watch him just navigate things, right? I would kind of be like, all right, I think we should be wrapping up. But he would just keep pressing in. And so just go for it, right? Obviously be polite, be respectful of the person and where they're at. If they really don't want to talk, be respectful of that. But I think sometimes we back out of opportunities too soon because things start getting uncomfortable. We can tell the person is uncomfortable, so that makes us feel uncomfortable. And we just feel like that means that we need to, back out of the situation when God, wants us to press in a little bit further. So just be open to that and pray for discernment and wisdom with those situations. So yeah, just embrace those awkward moments. One of the best questions that I asked during the week was this to Mormons. How sure are you that when you die one day, you're going to be exalted and live with Heavenly Father again, which is what they call God, right? I don't know if you guys have learned about exaltation yet. If you haven't, just a real quick thing on that is, Mormons, that's what they're going for. They want to be exalted. They want to live with God in the highest level of heaven, one day. And in order to do that, it's more than just grace and believing in Jesus. Like, they've got to do certain works to get to that point. Whereas we believe we can be saved, which for us being saved means immediately going, and being with Jesus in heaven. Just by His grace and by trusting in His grace and allowing that to change our lives, right? So it's different there. And sometimes in a conversation with a Mormon, it can be hard to identify those differences because everything you say, they keep saying, oh, I believe that too. I'm a Christian too. I think we're just saying the same things in different words. Like, I heard that so much and it was so annoying. But this question always helped me get that difference in those distinctions, right? How sure are you that when you die, you will be exalted and be with Heavenly Father again one day? I found a lot of success with that question. So obviously don't just have them open the door and jump right to that question. Have a natural conversation, show that you actually care about the person and who they are. And then, you can pray for an opportunity to ask that question. So I think that'd be really good and really, really helpful for you guys to do that. Two other things, and then I think that's it. Just remember there are Christians out there too. So we would go, door to door, talk to Mormon after Mormon after Mormon. It's just the same things. After you talk to a few of them, you're going to see patterns, a lot of patterns, because it really is like a cult and they really do brainwash them. And so they're going to start saying the same things and reverting to the same things. And they're trained to do that when Christians talk to them too. So it'll be really interesting for you guys to kind of unpack that and talk through that. But it was always super encouraging when we would meet a Christian at the door. And I remember two in particular that we talked to. There may have been more over the course of the week. The one lady, she just I think all of her siblings were Mormon. She was the only one who ended up converting to Christianity, and she just had such a burden for them, right? But she just said her ministry to them was really through prayer because they just weren't open to talking about it. But she was so encouraged by what we were doing, right? Just going out and having these conversations, and she knew how hard it was to penetrate the hearts of Mormons, because she was once one herself, but we were just able to be that encouragement simply by what we were doing. And so know that there are Christians out there that you're going to be able to encourage, and you're not alone, and they're not alone, and they're going to receive so much encouragement and strength from that. It's not just going and planting seeds to Mormons. Like, you're going to be an encouragement to those Christians who are there, and to just tell them to keep it up, because even though they're the minority, very small minority, God is still working, and he's going to use that remnant that's there. One lady we met who's a Christian was so refreshing and amazing to talk to her, because she was an older lady, kind of hard of hearing. You could tell at first we were like, I don't know if she can understand what we're saying. Like, where's this conversation's gonna go? At first you could tell she thought we were Mormons, but after we got to talking, she could definitely tell that we were Christians. And when we asked her, like, how sure are you of your salvation, whatever, she said, that she knew she was going to go to heaven because she believed Jesus died for her sins. And there's nothing she could do to earn that, right? And so it was just so refreshing to hear that from someone. And you could tell she had such a peace in her heart, right, of where she was going to go when she died. She had grown up in Denmark, converted to Mormonism in her 20s, was in the church for 15, 20 years with her husband. They ended up converting out, becoming Christians. It was just such a cool story. And, it's right in the middle of Utah. Those stories exist, and there are Christians there. And so just remember that there are Christians out there, and it's going to be so encouraging, if and when you do stumble upon one, just to be able to encourage them and allow them to encourage you in that witness, right? We're not alone. I wanted to close with just a story of encouragement. This was like my favorite story from the trip. I wasn't a part of it myself, but some other people on the team were, and that's going to be cool too, right? Even if you have a hard day evangelizing and you're like not getting any wins, someone from your team might have an awesome day and some awesome stories, and you'll gather and you'll share. And so, don't make it a comparison or a competitive game. Like, well, we talked to this many people and this person was open. Like, it has nothing to do with us, right? God's the one who brings the growth. We're just planting and watering those seeds. But when someone on your team has an encouraging story and you have kind of a hard day, like, it shouldn't like embitter your spirit. Like, oh man, like, lucky them. It should really encourage you, because we're all on the same team, right? We're all doing the same thing. So anyway, this story still just blows my mind. So there's this group from our team, and they were going in a neighborhood, knocking on doors. No one was really home, and so they went to the nearby temple, which I hope you guys get to go to a temple, because it's such a crazy experience, and I hope you guys get to evangelize outside a temple, because it's just really cool. So they went to this temple, and I guess everybody was at the temple, right? Parking lot's just packed. And so they're there kind of waiting outside, and a bunch of young Mormon missionaries, I think, are leaving the temple, going back to the missionary training center, which is where they, train to be missionaries. And so about a group of teens, our teens on the team, were kind of talking with these young missionaries and just kind of going back and forth. And the leader of our team was able to ask these, or share with these missionaries, like Ephesians 2, where it talks about you're saved by grace through faith. This is not from yourselves. This is the gift of God. And he was just sharing with them, like, it's not what we do. It's what God does. It's a complete rescue. We don't help with the rescue process. We just admit that we need the Lord, right? And he rescues us. And he was just like sharing that simple message with these Mormon missionaries. And there was a whole group of them there, right? And this one girl, just, you could tell the Lord was like speaking right to her. And she just was like, wow, like, I've never heard that before. And she just said, like, I'm really going to go home and I'm going to study that passage tonight. Like, that is just really eye-opening. And you could tell the Lord was just, penetrating her heart. And she was saying this in front of everyone. And, you could just tell the Lord was really speaking to her. So they kind of wrap up the conversation, and she goes up to him, to the leader, after they finish talking, and she gives him a hug, and she's just like, thank you so much for sharing that. Like, I've never heard that before, and it's gonna make my time here at the missionary training center like really, really hard. So, basically saying that it really challenged her in her beliefs. And so that's incredible, just for someone to get to that point and to say that. is just incredible, especially in front of, other Mormons that are there too. And she's obviously trying to be a part of that group and want to be accepted. So it was just very clear that the Lord's working on her heart. So you never know how God's going to use the message, right? You never know where people's hearts are at. So just be faithful, embrace the awkward, look for opportunities to share, and just go in there passionate to share this message. Meditate on the gospel for yourself, right? Just think about how amazing it is what Jesus has done and how you want people to experience that same rest and peace and security in their eternity. Be confident in that yourself, and just go into this week hard. Know that God's going to use you. He's going to be with you. And I just can't wait to hear the stories that come from this and the fruit that the Lord brings. So good luck. And I know it's going to be awesome.